and let me know if it's working.
You want to check YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, you just went live 4 seconds ago.
so
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we live.
All right, cool. Let me put this guy. So, welcome to Zion Law School, everybody. We're going to consider the protocols of the elders of Zion. We're on number 4 today, and we're going to do number 4, and we're going to stop at number 4 and pick back up on the next one, because I think everybody is a little bit tired today. So, if you want to come in to the classroom, the link is in, well, you know what, I'm not going to post the link. I don't feel like searching for the link. You have to come next class if you want to come in here. I'll put the link in the, but the link is in one of the videos we did earlier. So if you want to come into the classroom, you can check for that link. But otherwise, I'll put it in the video tomorrow or the next time we do this. So like and share the video. And subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. That'll help get this information out. And so do what you can to help Nation build. Like the video. If you watch it, I ask that you like it, because it'll really helps us out. So y'all want to get started with protocol number 4?
Say that again.
Sure.
Ready to get started with number 4? Can we get a reader? And let's do like we always do. Comment. You know, if you want to look a word up, let me know and we can look it up. So let's do it like we've been doing. Y'all ready?
Let's go.
All right. So who gonna read?
I started off with protocol number 4.
Yeah, protocol number 4. That's where we're at. Yeah.
All right. This is from the FBI vault of the Learned Elders of Zion. And we're at protocol number 4, stages of a republic, Gentile masonry, freedom and faith, international industrial competition, role of speculation, cult of gold. Every republic passes through several stages. The first of these is compromise in the early days, of mad raging by the blind mob, tossed hither and thither, right and left. The second is demagoguery, from which is born anarchy that leads inevitably to deposition.
Could you hold right there, Cleveland?
Yes.
All right. Dr. Yusaba, can you look up
Demagoguery.
Yeah, anarchy and despotism.
All right.
I think they all bad.
Oh, where is it? Did I spell it right?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Demagoguery.
There we go.
Demagoguery. Political.
Demagoguery.
It's a noun. It's a political activity or practices that seek support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than by using rational argument.
So what would be an example of that?
Political activity or practices that seek support by appealing to
appeals to desires and prejudices.
Oh, it's what the these candidates are doing now.
Yeah, what about in our personal life? Like, so people in the audience can understand who might not be up on politics. How does this play out in our personal life? Appeals to the desires. So let's look up desires. This should be funny.
Yeah, church.
Yeah, churches is part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, church. Yeah.
Feelings. wishes. Because you wish something will happen, right? Your feelings about somebody. And then prejudices. Yeah, prejudices. We make it so that it's relevant in our community, so everybody can understand. An unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand without knowledge, thought, or reason. Any preconceived opinion or feeling, either favorable or unfavorable. Unreasonable feelings, opinions, or attitudes, especially of hostile nature, regarding an ethnic, racial, social, or religious group. So what we see is demagoguery, political activity, or practices that seek support by appealing to feelings. Remember all those meanings we looked at?
Mm-hmm.
Prejudices of ordinary people rather than rational argument. Rational, this is funny. To me, this is funny. Rational, based on or in accordance with reason and logic. So how do we see this, y'all, in our own community? What do people do? They get on the phone, they call somebody up, and they do what? Talk trash about you.
Yeah.
Ain't not one bit of truth in it, not one fact in it, right?
They try to get you. They try to get you on their side by trying to win you onto their side of their argument or thought or paradigm without any rational argument about it.
Like for I used to hear my sisters talk, right? When I got a lot of sisters. Girl, I can't stand him. Did you see his girlfriend?
Yeah.
And then the conversation just go like that. Right? And before you know it, the person they're talking to, they can't stand you either. You
know?
But yeah,
that's funny.
So basically it's talking, what do we say? Well, at least when I was coming up, we used to say you talking S-H-I-T.
Yeah.
About somebody. So that would be
what the OJ say, they smile in your face and all the time they want to take your face. Yeah.
And this stuff is hard to recover from, man. When people do this to you, this is hard to recover from. You know, once people get these bad feelings about you and these bad ideas, hard no matter what you do. That's why what are those there's a type of narcissistic personality disorder. People who suffer from narcissistic personality disorder are usually masters at manipulating people to dislike who they dislike and like who they like. And this is how they do it: appeal to desires and feelings and prejudices, get you all emotional with them. But I think that's pretty common now in the US, is it?
Oh yeah.
Narcissism and borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good example of that. So what was the other words?
Anarchy and despotism.
So anarchy is a very interesting one. Anarchy, I don't know if I spelled that right. Yeah. So after we do this, I want to show y'all something about this word, if it's not in here. So can we have a reader, please?
Anarchy. Noun, a state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority. Absence of a government and absolute freedom of the individual regarded as political ideal. A state of disorder due to absence of government and absolute freedom. Well, sound like that's a good thing, right? No?
Right, right. It is. But they couch it as it's a bad thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
lawlessness, and there's that word nihilism. Nihilism.
Yeah, yeah. From last class, right?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Disorder. So in order word, they're saying there can only be order if there's what? Authority.
right.
Yeah.
And they're the authority.
So that goes against natural law, right?
There you go. Excellent. Excellent, Cleveland. That's excellent. Goes against natural law. And then what else? What about Genesis chapter 1? For those people who believe Genesis chapter 1 is real or is authentic. Let's see this. Check this
Hey,
out.
baby, you all right?
Check this out.
Huh? You gonna come in and help daddy guy? Thank you.
No, I'm gonna hang out.
Oh, you gonna hang out? Well, no, let daddy chill for a minute. I'll come check on you in a little bit, okay? All right, thank you.
So here we are in Genesis chapter 1, right? So look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Can we get a reader, please?
Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over the livestock and all the wild animals and over all creatures that move along the ground.
Yes, excellent. Very good. Now, what does it say? Rule.
Rule.
So this created creature in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 was what? Made in the image of this deity. Now, in the video, we go through all of this, right?
Mm.
So it was made in the image of this deity. And it was what? Given dominion or the right to rule, which is by definition sovereignty over what? Fish, birds,
In the sea.
livestock,
and
wild animals, and what?
all creatures that move along the ground.
Right. So that means what? What's left out? This entity does not have the right to rule over itself.
Right.
Only everything else. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
So for example, two of these creatures, they should be what? Equal. This is what you see in every state constitution and the federal constitution. This is the concept of sovereignty, which has its origin in Genesis chapter 1. Do y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that every man is a king unto himself, right?
Right.
That's where that comes from, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. You find this in every state constitution and the federal constitution. This is the concept of sovereignty. And this is why a lot of these patriarchs are angry, because the sovereignty has been taken away from them. Okay? But also important, what do you see here? Livestock. What's another word for livestock?
Farm animals.
Farm animals. Cattle, right?
Cattle. Yeah, the genome.
Right. That's the goyim. Excellent.
Going.
Right. And remember, in the protocols, they're calling people what? Goyim and cattle.
Going and cattle.
So now we see where they feel like they have the right to rule. Y'all see that? This is where it comes from. Y'all make the connection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when that you remember that video we watched with that Jewish guy saying that
Right.
the people who are not Jews, they're not human.
Yeah.
This is what he's referring to, Genesis 1 chapter, verse 26. This is where it comes from. So this is why they're not putting each other. They don't put each other in servitude because they feel like what? They're equals.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else is livestock. And the evidence of it is what? They behave like animals. How do we know? Because the animals don't have intelligence, right? At least that's what they say. So they're not following natural laws of consciousness. So the Jews would say they follow natural laws of consciousness. and they study physical natural laws. But then they'll say people like us don't. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
Check.
So remember that guy said a Jew will never kill another Jew? Well,
Yep.
maybe one, remember that? But
Yeah.
then
Right.
look at what goes on in the quote unquote black community, like Chicago,
Yeah.
right? So they create the conditions to give the perception that we're animals. But then they also, the person who plans a scheme is less guilty than the person who actually performs and does the dirty deed, right?
Mm.
So they got us, they're the puppet master, and then they got us actually doing the dirty stuff to each other, right? So now we're not only are we in violation of natural laws, but it produces evidence to show to the world that we're nothing but animals, to justify the way they do us. Y'all got that? But not only us, they're doing it to the heathens now. All right. So y'all see, everybody see the connection?
So,
Okay.
so I don't know how I should. So basically, people of color are the goyim.
No, even the non-Jew.
Okay.
Even
But
but
there's a difference.
what they're saying is that us is what this is, as I understand this, our mentality makes us the best type of slave.
Oh, okay.
This is what they say. That's what they believe. But of course, that's after we've been domesticated, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But our ancestors were not like that, right? Because they couldn't do anything with our ancestors. We actually did the damage to ourselves,
Yep.
right? And then once we were so weakened, they were able to overcome us. But you know, they came over here with with Black Europeans. These people were servants to Black Europeans. The whole American history thing is a lie.
Right.
They came over here with Black Europeans, Edomites, right? And probably others, and they were servants.
Right. It came as indentured servants.
Yeah, but that's a whole other topic.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay, so what was the next one? Oh, so what I was going to show y'all about that word, anarchy. If you look, I don't know if we'll get it here, but if you look at the etymology, it's going to say exactly what Cleveland brought out. Anarchy with, let's say this is Greek. What's the meaning of it? Without ruler. So if you're without a ruler, you are what? Sovereign, you're free.
Right.
And so they're saying for you to be without a ruler, this definition is that they're saying this is a bad thing.
Right.
Y'all got that?
Yeah.
So we need to be really, really careful with these words. This is why words are casting spells. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Words are spells.
Yeah. My mama used to say, what she say? Because she always taught us to be nice to people and watch what we say. Because she would said that we could create life and death with our tongue. Is what she would tell us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I see, as we learn words, as I'm learning to research words, and I'm watching you show me how to Google words and break them down and see the similar words. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Right. So then
I can feel that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You go. That's your melanin at work, Ock. That's your melanin. There you go. You can feel it. Right. So they're saying state of disorder due to but you see how they twisted it?
Yeah. And they solidify it with imagery, like of these people on the streets tearing up stuff. They want to call them anarchists. When they're just really terrorists.
Yeah, really terrorists. So they use words to control perception and thought. That's why words or spelling. Words can be used as witchcraft, right? Words can be used to control a person without them even knowing it. Was there another one?
Yeah, despotism.
That's okay.
I think, did we go over this one though?
Yeah, I think so. I just that's why I said that's.
We can check it. Let's see. What we got? Can we get a reader, please?
Despotism, a noun. It says the exercise of absolute power, especially in a cruel and oppressive way.
Okay. So let's go back and consider what was this sentence telling us? Every republic that's a government, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So let's extract what the meaning from that sentence that we just read. Every republic passes through several stages. The first of these is comprised in the early days of mad raging by the blind mob. Well, first of all, that's not true. They're talking about their stuff, right?
Right.
Indigenous people did not go through this. Tossed hither and thither, right and left. The second is demagoguery, from which is born anarchy, and that leads inevitably to despotism. Not any longer legal or overt and therefore responsible despotism, but to unseen and secretly hidden, yet nonetheless sensibly felt despotism in the hands of some secret organizations or other whose acts are the more unscrupulous, inasmuch as it works behind a scene, behind the backs of all sorts of agents, the changing of whom not only does not injuriously affect, but actually aids the secret force by saving it. Let's see, I gotta make things by saving it, thanks to continual changes from the necessity of expending its resources on the rewarding of long services. So what do we think? So what they're saying is that every government, no, we're talking nation states, right? We're not talking indigenous nations, because that's a bloodline attached to a landmass.
Right.
This is these heathens coming in, taking people's lands, and then setting up a nation state.
Right.
See the difference?
Right.
So if they took it, right? If they took the people's land who were originally there, the early days is what? Mad raging by blind mob. That's chaos, right?
Yep.
That would explain that. Tossed hither and thither, right and left. The second is demagoguery. We looked at that, right?
Right.
Lying and manipulating.
Right.
Trying to get over. Okay. And then the anarchy, right? No order. So in other words, it's so chaotic and crazy. It's like a pool of piranha if you throw some meat into the lake.
Right.
Just total chaos. So they need somebody. They need an authority figure to come in and establish order. Okay, that would be the despotism. Okay, and what are they saying? That there's a usefulness for having a secret society. For example, like a Masons, Freemasonry, all those other ones. That's what this is talking about.
Yeah.
So, anybody want to say anything about that, or do we move to the next paragraph?
Let's move to the next paragraph.
Okay. So, have our reader, please.
Who and what is in a position to overthrow an invisible force? Who and what is in a position to overthrow an invisible force? And this is precisely what our force is. So man, it's like they just bragging about what they doing.
Yeah.
It's just like they sticking their chests out and they saying, yeah, we the big bad boys and this is what we do and we gonna do it. And they have been doing it. But it just, man, this is crazy. Gentile masonry blindly served as a screen for us and our objects. But the plan of action of our force, even its very abiding place, remains for the whole people an unknown mystery.
Wow. Gentile masonry, that's Freemasonry, right?
Yep.
So this sounds to me like they're saying that they got a whole something else on top of Freemasonry. And Freemasonry is just their agents.
Yep.
So guys, real quick, I am part of the Masonic community. And one of my arguments with my elders has been, other than being a glorified pallbearer or fraternity, what do we do as Freemasonry? Because I'm trying to understand, like, I'm in this fraternity, and every now and then we have a fish fry to raise money for the neighborhood, but I was like, why we're not teaching the kids to play music or a reading program or a neighborhood program, but I'm not high enough on a, in the echelon to make a difference. They just say, oh, well, this is just what we do now. But as I see, like, the true wisdom for the people, like the lodge I'm a parent to here in Arkansas, the Grand Lodge, yeah, they got no love for the people, bro.
Really? Are you in it yet, or are you applying to it?
No, I have been for 20 years.
Okay. Did you take any oaths?
I did.
Do you remember what they were? Like, was it an oath to, did you take oaths to do certain work or allegiance to, I don't have any idea about Freemasonry.
Right. And it's man, and I have been questioning it ever since I've been on my quake for knowledge and just to understand, why. But I have to say, the Masonic family is part of my awakening. If I guess I can say that my quest for knowledge, because if I hear something, as I'm doing right now, I'm writing it down. I'm researching and I'm saying, wow, Freemasonry come from Africa, but we're taught it come from England. We got our charter from England, but I learned that the true Masonry come from Africa. Well, what else they hide? Well, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy.
That's true. That's true. Initially, Freemasonry was not a bad thing,
right?
Until it got taken over.
Yeah. But right now, I see in this protocol, it said the Gentile masonry blindly serves as a screen for us and our objects. But the plan of action in our force, even its abiding place, remains for the whole people an unknown mystery.
Well, I don't think they're referring to melanated people's masonry.
Oh, it says Gentile. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is something to think about. From what I understand about almost all Black pastors are Freemasons.
Yeah.
And if they have not misled the people, I don't know who have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're not some of the worst people in our community. I'm not talking about the way they present themselves. I'm talking about the effects of what they push and what they do.
Yeah, they're being used like that, to keep us in the dark, but they're not allowed to go any further than that. I mean, they're not really given any powers to do anything else, like the Pelskin Masons.
Right.
So do you guys think the so-called Black leaders are not Freemasons?
No, they are. I mean, they were started for that effect, is to keep the community, our community, sleep and in subjugation.
So would that be consistent with the goals of the protocols of the Zion, of the elders of Zion?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're probably at a much lower level. But
Yes.
if you just look at the effects, their effects, it seems to me that it's consistent with these protocols.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Because also remember when this was written, we were under Jim Crow, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But then we eventually, I think in the 60s, we got out of Jim Crow. I think the last sharecropper, well, actually, I heard there were still blacks enslaved in the South who didn't, a couple decades ago.
Yeah.
But our condition has changed since then. But look at what they're doing to us now as a people. With the way they got these governments on us, for the government policies, for example, most black men are oppressed by child support, and it's the women who are doing it to them.
Yep.
And they use the excuse about money.
Yep.
Right. And what's another oppressive? Prisons.
Yeah.
The education system. All of this stuff is reflected in these protocols that we've read so far. So this stuff is being implemented on us, even though initially we were in a condition where, we were in physical bondage, right? Then we went through Jim Crow. Okay, they had complete, absolute control over us. Now we in the 1960s and 70s, we got some degree of freedom, right? But look at what they've done to us since the Black Power movement through government policy. Look at abortion, right? That the heathens are fighting over now.
Right.
Abortion, the family court system. How can you even call it family court? Child support, private prison, and who knows? Oh, the HIV/AIDS epidemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the lead poisoning in water.
Yeah.
All of these things that they're doing to us, and what are these black leaders doing to help the people? What did the black pastors do?
Nothing.
They didn't do anything but tell the people to accept it, basically, right? And look for the kingdom.
Right.
Look for God's kingdom to come.
Be not weary.
No.
Be not weary in well doing.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but for me, it just seems like these protocols are being implemented on us. And then also look at the rise in homosexuality and lesbianism. And it's possible to turn a person's gender through chemicals now.
Yeah.
That's the thing with that the government medical marijuana
Mm.
It says so high in THC, and most of the brothers that sitting around just smoking said the THC is so high, not the THC, but the
No, you're right. You're right.
the THC. The THC is so high that it's messing with the with the body, turning men.
It feminizes. It's feminizing.
Yeah,
men.
feminizing the men. Yeah.
But look who they have promoting it. They got all of these black entertainers promoting it.
Yeah.
And, I think Snoop has his own. Mike Tyson has his own. So all of these black heroes are promoting this stuff. But who really owns those companies? Mostly white people.
Right.
Mostly white people. Black people, I don't think would even be able to get the license. But they're partnering, from what I understand, these entertainers are partnering with other people, and they're just the face to promote the brand. But look at what they do with our people. You know, all for what? All for a fiat note.
Yep.
Yo,
To be able to ride around in big fancy cars and wear all kind of necklaces and mouth diamonds and
But do you see how that fits in here? Do you see how that fits in Genesis here?
mm-hmm.
They say we act like animals.
Yep.
Because only right.
Yep.
So okay, so let's so anything else on this, or should we keep going?
should we keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
But even freedom might be harmless and has its place in the state economy without injury to the well-being of the people if it is rested upon the foundation of faith in God, upon the brotherhood of humanity unconnected with conception of equality, which is, I'm sorry.
You
Upon
can
the
say of
brotherhood
the
of,
deity, faith in the deity.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So
Foundation.
let me see if I can show y'all. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me see if I can show you. Sometimes it comes up on Google, sometimes it don't. But let me see if I can show you the god Odin. Ain't that nothing?
Mm.
So Odin. So this is Odin, the deity Odin. See, Norse mythology. That's the deity Odin. So the God, the spelling of Odin changed to God in modern day. Y'all follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you say God, you're invoking this deity because God is really Odin in the modern day spelling. Okay. So uh, can you imagine that, man? All the people in the churches calling on this, they don't even realize it. Some people will say, "Oh, it don't matter because that was then," but that's not true. Remember Deuteronomy 28 about being careful,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
right? To act, to take precaution, to act cautiously. So this is Odin, right? So Odin.
More than likely, he was probably a Nephilim or a Raphaim.
He probably was, yeah. 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 So that's Odin. And again, the name is, over time, words spelling can change, right? So it just changed to God over time. So, let's see. See if we can find an encyclopedia. Let's see. Odin. Okay, so Odin, also called Woden, Wotan. One of the principal gods of Norse mythology. Let's see if we can find it here. Okay, so they're not giving it. Usually you can find it right up in here. Like if you search this, it'll have all the different spellings. See the spelling that it has?
Look,
Right.
It'll have G-O-D.
hold on, look at the top. Alternative titles. It's G-O-D-A-N.
Yep.
The first
Where's
one.
that at?
The first one.
Alter-
Alternative titles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's close enough.
So they dropped late at some point they dropped this A-N.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, if you guys search for it, or anybody in the audience, if you search for it, you'll see that G-O-D is older. Okay, so let's go back.
Okay, the foundation of the faith in the deity upon the brotherhood of humanity, unconnected with the conception of equality, which is negative by the very laws of creation. For they have established subordination with such a faith as this a people might be governed by a worship of parishes and will walk continually and humbly under the guiding hand of his spiritual pastor, submitting to the deposition of the deity upon earth. This is the reason why it is indispensable for us to undermine all faith, to tear out the minds of the Gorm, the very principle of the deity head and the spirit, and to put in its place that arithmetical calculations and material needs.
Ooh, that means science and math and science and food, shelter, clothing, trophies. Check this first paragraph out, y'all. It says, but even freedom might be harmless. So they're assuming that freedom is not harmless, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we read in the other paragraph. The need for a third authority.
Right.
This is indicates that freedom might be harmless and have its place in the state economy without injury. So for them, freedom causes injury. Okay, but they're saying, let's look at this and see if it's harmless. Okay, have its place without injury to the well-being of the peoples if it rested, notice this, upon the foundation of faith in the deity, right? So if the freedom was based upon faith in the deity, it might be okay. Upon the brotherhood of humanity, okay, that would be what? Brotherly love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notice this. This is the other condition. Unconnected with the conception of equality. In other words, well, let me read this one. Check this out, y'all. Which is negatived by the very laws of creation. This is saying natural law. This is saying this idea of equality violates natural law. Did y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it, Cleveland?
Yes, sir.
For they have established subordination. So in other words, natural laws have different levels of power of created things. Y'all see that? But they got black people into what? Equality.
Oh,
Demanding equality. I hope everybody sees this. There
so
is no equality in nature. We had this discussion in another class, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There are many types of cats. The lion,
Yeah.
the tiger, the leopard, the cheetah, they're not equal. They're not equal. They're cats, but they're not equal. They have different characteristics, different amounts of power, different personalities, right? Same as with birds. Birds is just one category. There's a bald eagle, all different
Yeah.
types of people that have different
Hawks.
power,
Yeah.
different habits. There's hawks. So there's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some birds eat other birds.
Yes, hawks. So.
So there's no equality in nature. So this idea of us expecting to be treated equal is a violation of natural law. And for every violation of natural law, there's a penalty when you break that law. Just like if you break the law of gravity, there's a penalty you're going to pay, right? So this reality of natural law can lift us up if we learn them. Natural law of consciousness. It can lift us up or keep us down. And these people know the game with natural law. That's why you see how they're putting the natural law against us. I don't know, y'all silent. If you disagree, let us hear the other side.
Well, no, I'm just following along.
So in this case, the natural law is against us because we're expecting and begging for equality.
Yeah.
Right?
We are human too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That don't work.
No.
So this is even saying freedom might be helpful in the case where there's a foundation in the faith in the deity, and there's also brotherly love. But it won't work if you got this concept of equality. And then it says why? Because you would think that with equality, that would make it better, right? But then it tells why. It says it's negated by the laws of creation. In other words, it violates the laws of creation. Equality violates the laws of creation. Okay, so let's look at the next sentence. With such a faith as this people might be governed by a wardship of parishes, and would walk contentedly and humbly under the guiding hand of its spiritual pastor, submitting to the dispositions of the deity on earth. So let's get them and let's look that up just to make sure I'm thinking this is a religious body. Wardship. What was it? Worship of what?
Worship of
Parishes. Parishes, yeah. That sounds to me like a religious organization, but let me make sure.
Oh yeah. Like Catholic organization.
Parishes. So hold on, let me see. Let's look up parishes first. Excuse me. A parish is a territorial entity in many Christian denominations, constituting a division within a diocese. So it sounds to me like they're saying organized people in, I guess like a county, but it would be a religious thing.
Yeah. Like the parish would be the I guess central centralized government,
Right.
like that.
Yeah. So then they're saying, and then they'd have a pastor submitting to, in other words, a pastor who's not a hypocrite.
Right.
So, so let's go back to this. They're saying freedom could work. Freedom could be beneficial if there's non-hypocritical obedience to the deity, if there's a condition of brotherly love. There cannot, if there is no equality, because that goes against nature, that violates the laws of nature. The next requirement would be that you have to organize them into religious denominations, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? And with the pastor who's not a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
Next paragraph. This is the reason why it is indispensable for us to undermine all faith. Wow. So they're saying there's a possibility that freedom could be helpful. Therefore, we need to undermine all faith. Y'all got that?
Yep.
To tear out of the minds of the Goyim, this is the cattle, right? The Gentiles, the very principle of the deity head. So in other words, they've got to destroy. Wow, look at what happened to the Baptist religion. Look at what they've done to religion in general, but specifically us. Destroyed it with homosexuality, right? Scandal. Well, what's the purpose? To tear out of the minds of the Goyim the very principle of the deity and the spirit, and to put in its place basically math, science, and materialism. Y'all see that?
Yep.
In other words, discredit religion. And we see this too, don't we? Because people will say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
Wow, this is really diabolical. Any comments on this?
Nope.
It's just that, you know, if you just really look, you can see this plan in place. Like I can, in a way, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like forever, as I look back, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm 48 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I'm saying I can see this in plan as long as 15 or 16, you know, watching my people go through this and not even having a clue the paradigm that we've been in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, this is mind blowing to me.
It's like a rat in a maze and don't know it's in a maze.
Yeah.
You know, he don't know he's in a maze, but he just keep running through that maze, not knowing what's happening.
Yeah, they infiltrated the Catholic religion a long time ago, and came up with this Jesuit society and took over all the you know, what is being taught. And they also infiltrated Islamic society, Islamic religion.
You know, they say all of the religions were started by secret society members, like the JW organization that was started by that guy Charles Taze Russell.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what secret society he was in. And then the Seventh-day Adventists came out of that.
Yep.
What was it there? The one that has the crown and the cross?
Mm.
Y'all know what secret society that is? The crown and the cross?
The crown, I don't know by memory.
But yeah, all of these religions.
Is that the Scottish Rite?
Huh?
Is that the Scottish Rite?
Yeah, let me check it out. All of these religions come from secret societies. That's why almost all the pastors, priests, rabbis, and so forth are secret society members.
Yeah.
So let's see. Hold on, let me open that up. Can y'all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. This is the Smithsonian. I'm just gonna see if we can find a list. I never heard of that one. You know, if I ever get time, I'm gonna study this stuff.
Hold on, you got seen something with a night. Oh, you got fraternal organizations like
Where's that at? Go up there.
hold on. Oh yeah, right here. Many religious leaders felt at the very least conflicted about secret orders. In 1887, Reverend DeWitt Talmage wrote his sermon on the moral effect of Freemasonry, Old Fellowship, Knights of Labor, Greek alphabet, and other societies. But if you go down, it has a list of scroll down. Hold on, you're going too far. Hold on, you went too far. Yeah, right there. While the Da Vinci Code novelist Dan Brown and his contemporaries have shined a light upon some of the bigger secret fraternal organizations like the Order of Skull and Bones, Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and the Illuminati. There are still other lesser known groups that have compelling stories of their own. Here are just a few. Benevolent Protective Order of Elks. I ain't never heard of them.
I heard of them before.
You did?
Yeah. Y'all heard about the devil's the devil's pulpit?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find it. Huh?
And so, like in somewhere in the 60s, JFK did a speech on secret societies.
Yeah.
And shortly after then, he was assassinated, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He was warning the country about these secret societies,
Yeah.
what they're doing. So this, I think it's the devil's pulpit. There's a preacher back in the, I think the 18 or 1700s. The devil's diction. No, that's not it. This might, I think this might be it. Let me see, y'all.
By the Reverend Robert Taylor. It's basically a collection of his sermons in Ireland from the early 1800s, the 1830s is really when he started these. He was, a little background on the Reverend Robert Taylor. He was born in the late 1700s. His dad died quite young. He was one of seven siblings from him. He became a surgeon.
Sorry about that.
At about age 20. He was very brilliant.
I'm putting a link in the chat.
Cool.
Heavily into science and became a doctor and a surgeon very early on and was a renowned surgeon. He was selected. He was also, from a very early age, since his dad was also in the clergy, he was also a very religious guy and was selected to be in the clergy. Actually, the clergy.
I'm gonna move forward so y'all can hear. This is, y'all really should watch this, okay? This is an eye opener. This Devil's Pulpit is a real eye opener.
Where is he that is born the King of the Jews? For we have seen Bethlehem, a sermon, brief of sermons. And just go ahead and read some of this so you see what this guy is talking about. In 1830, okay, part 2, the Star of Bethlehem, a sermon preached by His Highness Chaplain, Reverend Robert Taylor, at the Rotunda, Blackfriars Road, November 14th, 1830. From Matthew 2. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born the King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and we are come to worship him. That's basically the start point for his sermon, which continues here. I return to this most important subject in which man is interested, to his most delight in science, in which man can be instructed. I return to the physicians of this great science, to which on Sunday evening last I brought up the convictions to the large auditory, which honored me and themselves with the most grateful attention. The Star of Bethlehem has brought us up to the stable door, and no person of rational understanding who has traveled with us thus far can any longer doubt that we are in possession of what you shall seek for in vain in any church or chapel, or from any other minister of the gospel in this metropolis. We are in possession of the key of the stable door. Yea, we have seen it pass into the lock. You have seen it ride over all the intricacies and involutions of the words. You have heard it. Without any strain or effort, throw the bolt. Now the door is open. And behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day the city of David, Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign. That is, as I have shown, this Christ the Lord shall be one of the signs of the zodiac. Walk in, ye lovers of true science, ye friends of genuine and real learning, who would assist her in the arduous struggle in which she is engaged, and aid her rapidly approaching triumph over her barbarous foes, the priests and priest-ridden dunces, who with all their pretended zeal and attachment to the gospel, when brought to the test of rational criticism, stand convinced of knowing that no more about the gospel than the gospel knows about them. They have fed on the husks and shells of knowledge. Here, today, we have the kernel of knowledge. But why, say they, make we such a parade of our learning? Why this apparatus of philology, criticism, and science, except for minds so little able to appreciate, so incompetent to be judged, as we must suppose the minds of the many to be? And why, if I really wish to communicate knowledge and truth to the people, why not follow the example of the preachers of the gospel and speak in such language that's familiar to them, and so give them reading made easy and lectures adapted to the meanest capacity, lowest capacity? My answer is, would men be but faithful to their own capacities, there would be no mean capacities to be met with. It is only they who are afraid of hearing what they have never heard before, whose capacities are mean indeed. I found it quite easy, as I am sure it is more just generous to raise the understandings of my hearers to the level of my own, and if I find them ignorant, at least not to leave them so. We are all of us ignorant, for we are learned. Those who are forever for coming down to our level while we are down, show them.
Let me try to get to something more interesting. But did you notice he connected the gospel to the zodiac? Did you hear him?
Yeah, I heard that.
But this this book exposes a real scandal. If you guys get this, believe me, this exposes the real scandal. This Reverend Robert Taylor's The Devil's Pulpit. I never listened to this audio before, but if you guys get this, I'm telling you, it will open your eyes to what these pastors.
You're the damn devil.
Oh, to what the pastors are doing. I think he just, let me see.
From just yelling scripture back and forth between each other, and if you say, hey, you know, there might be more to some of this stuff than what we're, you're the damn devil. I got some girl here on YouTube, you know, call me a friggin' fag. But she's high and, you know, shall increase the store of their intellectual wealth.
So this is not a good one. I think we just waste time. But on your own time, scholars, check this out, okay? Because I'm telling you, it's worth the time you're gonna spend listening to this audio book, or if you can get the PDF, read it, it's gonna really open your eyes up. Let me try one more time. Because I really would like for y'all to see this. How just blatant they are behind, you know, behind closed doors with fooling people. Reverend Robert Taylor. Try one more time. See, he exposing it. Maybe this is a better expose.
The word Juji is being a bad word, which belongs to
But what's this say? Is that interesting?
Freemasons.
Well, check this out. The word Jewy or Jev being the very word which we pronounce Jehovah or Jove, and which, see erratum, Freemasons pronounce Jave and say it is the name by which they know the grand architect of the universe. Wow, I didn't know that. From the order of the perfect Masons being permitted to pronounce the name of the deity, they acquired the distinction of being called the people of the deity and took it to themselves or received from others the name which they had given to the deity. And so arose the sect called the Jewish or Jews. Wow. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm. The word Peter, which signifies a stone, added to the name of the deity, Jew, making the whole title of Jupiter most emphatically expressed as deity, the great architect.
Wow. So see that guy, he exposed a lot of this Freemasonry stuff in religion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And you never hear any Hebrew Israelites talking about this, do you?
Mm-hmm.
They always give the Yahuwah, the all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And here it is, Jewy and G, Joe. Man, wow. Mm. So remember though, this is the Tetragrammaton, right? They talk about the Tetragrammaton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, y'all see this in the footnote here?
Yeah, I was just reading that.
From the secret doctrinal, my screen is covering up. Volume 2, page 464. That's
That's
where that's coming from. I can't see it.
the secret doctrine.
As we find, it was the Son who really is the great architect, who in all ages and countries was emblemized and worshiped under the character of a stone.
What?
Okay. Yeah, this is Egypt. See, he's getting into the Egyptology in Christianity. Right? The sun is what? What deity is the sun? Amun-Ra.
Right, yeah.
Right? Remember we talked about they overlaid religion over science? This is getting into it.
What? How they worship the sun as a stone? Like,
Pyramid. I think they're talking about the Great Pyramid.
oh, okay. So at the top of the pyramid, they call it a capstone. That would be
Right.
the representation of the sun, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe they're talking planets or the pyramids. I don't know much about this stuff. I just know what they did. They covered the sciences over with religion. And Christianity is straight Egyptology. Christ in the gospel confers this title on the chief of the apostles, the Jew Peter. I say unto thee that thou art Peter, which is by interpretation a stone. The chief of the apostles returns the compliment to Jesus Christ by calling him the chief stone of the corner. Thus the epithet, a stone, was common both to Jupiter. Okay, so Jupiter is the planet, Peter is the planet Jupiter, and the Jew, Jesus. Is that clear?
Both to Jupiter, yeah.
Okay, so this is the astro-theology that some people talk about. That they say Christianity, well, let's keep going. Somebody else want to read?
Yeah.
But the
Go ahead.
but the epit, the right?
Epithet.
Eptit Aman added to both the names of Jupiter and Jesus as they are. When fully pronounced, Jupiter Aman and Jesus Christ, Amen, demonstrates the absolute identity, as neither the one nor the other ever meant anything else than soul, the sun, the word. Aman being composed of two primitive, I guess that's the
And
the heat or warmth, on the being.
right. You want to explain it, or anybody want to discuss this? I think Sol is Latin. I'm not sure what language that is, but it means sun. Okay. Amun, this is Amun, the deity, the Egyptian deity. Okay. And I guess in Latin or whatever language they're saying here, it means heat or warmth on the being. So when people pray, they're saying what? Amen.
Mm-hmm.
This is the deity Jupiter, Amun, amen, amen. It's still the same thing. This is the deity. This is the deity Amen, right? The Amen Ra. Amen Ra was composed of the deity Amen and the deity Ra. I think when the upper and the lower kingdoms of Mitzrayim or Egypt united, they brought together the. I don't remember this. It's been so long since I looked at this stuff. But that's what they combined the deity to Amen Ra, right? So that's what's going on here. Y'all see it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm.
You want to read, Cleveland? Or-
This heat or warmth of the sun being missing or hidden or concealed during the winter months, all nature was supposed to be engaged in seeking for Amon, and the priests expressed this sense very beautifully in those words. Verily, thou art a deity that hideth thyself, O deity of Yasharallah, the Savior.
So basically what? You need the sun to survive. That's why they're saying the sun is the savior.
Mm,
See?
yo.
So this is astro-theology. Astro-theology. Y'all want to go back to the document or continue here?
We can go back to the document. I gotta get ready, log off.
Let me put this in the chat. Well, when
Yeah,
y'all get some
yeah.
time, go through that. Hold on.
I'm thinking about just ordering. Oh, that's what I meant to do. I meant to go to Zion Law School and get those books.
Yeah, do that. I appreciate that.
After I got done at the barbershop and I had to change a flat tire on my car and took the tire to get fixed, and by the time I got back here around noontime, I took a nap.
But this guy really he was one of the first people to pull the cover off of these people. It's astro-theology. And remember I was discussing that they overlay religion over science?
Yeah.
Right.
And then when you go through that, remember Jeremiah 8:8. Okay. All right. So
Yeah, I was listening to Brother Sarnelli this morning. He was interviewing this brother Zion Lex, who's I guess a Hebrew Israelite, and he was saying how he asked him, "Can we trust the Bible as 100% the Word of God?" And this brother Zion Lex said, "Yes." He said, "Yes." So, and I immediately thought about Jeremiah 8:8. So I did what I watch us do here. I Googled Jeremiah 8:8. The first 3 or 4, I copied them and I emailed them to Brother Sarnetta because we can meet by email. I said, ask Brother Zion Lex, how do he explain this verse, Jeremiah 8:8, based on his stance of the book? So I'm waiting to get a reply of that because this is being like, because preachers have told me when I've had questions in the past, man, what about this? Like, for instance, I had a preacher at a funeral say one time that we couldn't live forever. Somebody died, she was 82, and he said God blessed her to live 82 years old. That was a blessing. And I went to him after church and asked, what can I find in the Bible? And he said he didn't know. He just quoted some. But when I went and did the research, I was led to where I saw where it was said something like, man should live forever. His days shall be numbered 120 years.
Right.
But what I'm going back to say is, like, even our leaders of the church, like, they intentionally don't know the scripture. They misrepresent the scripture. They don't care. They just give us these good scriptures, and no real learning going on. And man, the people, we as a people have been we definitely fit the mold of the Gorham cattle. just
Yeah.
based on the way we've been. Yeah.
And Cleveland, those pastors who've been to seminary school or who've been through the Masonic training programs, I'm sure they have pastoral Masonic training programs.
Yeah.
Those people who've been through that, they know what's happening. And
They know.
church is a business.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
A business. And telling somebody some truth, I mean, real usable truth from scripture, is not going to help that pastor, right? So they ain't going to tell you nothing. I've heard of people who got tossed out of churches, right, for challenging the doctrine or asking too many questions. I've heard people
Right.
say,
Yeah.
yeah. So man,
No doubt.
But just what kind of person do you have to be in order to do that? You know what I mean? To do that to your own people. Okay, so let's move on. So the point of this here is that they made the focus what? Science. Y'all heard of STEM? Y'all heard of STEM?
Yeah.
Yep.
Science, technology. Is it engineering and mathematics or something like that? I don't remember.
Or medicine. Steam.
Yeah, science, technology, engineering, and math. See that? This is the big thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And what? Materialism.
Yeah.
You gotta have your BMW. Woman ain't interested in you unless you're wearing the most fancy clothes, no spectacular clothing, right? you got a Benz or a BMW or some expensive car. This is what they've done.
And you getting them big bags of Fed notes.
Yeah.
Debt papers.
So wow, it's right here, man. They put this stuff on paper. No, this is big. This was they were working on this for hundreds of years, but they put it on paper in 1905. Here it is. Look at that. Replace it all with arithmetic calculations, right? These are the sciences: math, engineering, right? And material needs, materialism. So this would be STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Material needs would be materialism.
Uh-oh, who's that coming in?
Look like Jimmy. Shalom, Jimmy. I think he at work.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the next paragraph so we can wrap this one up.
In order to give the Gorm the time to think and to take note, their mind must be diverted toward industry and trade. Thus, all the nations will be swallowed up in the pursuit of gain, and the race for it will not take note of the common folk or their common folk. But again, in order that freedom may once for all disintegrate and ruin the communities of the Gorm, we must put industry on the speculative basis. The result of this will be that what is withdrawn from the land of industry will slip through the hands and pass into speculation, that is, to our classes. The intensified struggle for superiority. The intensified struggle for superiority and shocks delivered to economic life we create may have already created disenchanted, cold, and heartless communities. Such communities will foster a strong aversion towards the higher political and towards religion, the only guide is gain, that the deity which they will erect into
That gold, that is gold. The only guide is gain. In other words, they'll become pursuing money.
Their only God is gain, that is gold, which they would erect into a veritable cult for the sake of those material delights which it can give. Then will the hour strike when not for the sake of attaining the good, not even to win wealth, but solely out of hatred towards the privileged, the lower classes of the Gorn will follow our lead against our rivals for power, the intellectuals of the Gorn.
So those last few sentences were saying this is their scheme to turn the masses of the people against their political and religious leaders. They're gonna do it through using money. Y'all see that?
Yep.
So let's go back and look at the paragraph.
All they got everybody doing is chasing that bag, chasing that bag, chasing that bag.
So that's the rat in the maze.
Yeah, trying to secure that bag.
That's all you hear people talk about too, ain't it?
Yep.
So what's that? And they would do it what on a global scale? They would make industry number one, pursuing your career, earning money, the most important thing. And then pit the people, the common people, against their religious and political leaders, with the ultimate goal of getting the masses of the people to join in with the Zionists to go against their political and religious systems. That's what I got from that. The intensified struggle for superiority and shocks delivered to economic life will create, may have already created, disenchanted, cold, and heartless communities. Do we not see that with Black people?
Yes.
And it's funny because we think we create our own culture. But it's not us who creating it. At least this aspect of it. Y'all see that?
Yeah, it's a Zionist through art and entertainment.
This makes me think cold and heartless communities. Remember Dr. Claude Anderson? Always talks about we don't have a community and you need a community. In order, you said we have neighborhoods, right?
Right.
Right.
This is what this makes me think about what Dr. Claude Anderson always said. These people have destroyed our communities. Now all we have left is neighborhoods. And with the neighborhood, and I think Dr. Claude Anderson is right. With the neighborhood, you cannot have prosperity because you have no group loyalty. People will go they'll drive 5 miles outside of the community to buy something from white people than to buy it from you. You know?
Yeah.
And plus, we don't have anything that would make up a community like our own banks, our own school system, our own anything. So we just have neighborhoods. Okay, so anybody else want to say anything about this before we close out?
No.
No? Okay.
John,
huh?
It's just causing me to dislike the so-called Jews even more. I'm not even gonna call them so-called because that's what they are. They are Jews.
Yeah, but what about the so-called black people who help them do it.
Well, yeah,
They're actually more responsible.
right.
They're more guilty because this is just a plan.
And that's why I don't listen to none of them when they get on TV and trying to convince us to do this and do that.
Mhm.
Like
This is-
now they all want to get out and vote. Get out of here.
yeah, yeah. Did y'all see that brother from 432 Drop Radio? He put the etymology of vote and ballot.
No, I ain't see that. I ain't see that one.
Well, let me show you before we close this out, okay? Let me show you. I thought it was real nice that he did that. Real good idea that he did that.
Which one was it? Condrop or?
Yeah. Well, I don't know which one. I saw it on 432 Drop.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to do with vote. He put the etymology out. Here we go. Yeah. To show people what they really doing.
I don't get no notifications.
Y'all see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bala'ata.
Well, there we go. Uh-oh. Well,
Vote. 1550s to give a vote to. Enact, establish a vote. See, vote earlier meant to vow to do something. Right. Vow. When you make a vote, you make a vow. Who you voting for or not? What's a vow? It's a solemn promise. Old French voyeur, vow, vow. Oh, there's a noun. A noun is a person, you know. Who you promising to? Solemnly. What is solemn? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Solio, to use, that is to hold on or continue. Who you holding on to? Anniversary observed once a year with religious ceremony. So when you talk solemnly, you get into religiousness, right? Okay. What else? It's gotten good, right? The worship of this image, was advanced and a solemn supplication observed once a year. What image, man? What's rule number 1? To keep the code religiously grave, marked with pomp, sanctity, attended with religious rites. Now we're talking rites. Now we're talking rituals. His holy rites and solemn feasts profaned. We're talking profaned feasts, religiously serious, piously grave, devout, marked by a reverence to a God. Marked by a reverence to a God, as in a prayer. Who are you praying to? Who are you voting to solemnly, and even more important, my life? What image are you worshiping? What image are you worshiping when you're vowing and making a promise solemnly? Solemn is a what? Image you're worshiping, a prayer. Who are you praying to? Who are you dedicated to? Who are you making a promise to? I guess we got to go to the culprit over here, the noun version, right? Person, place, or thing. Vow. Solemn. Prayer. Let's go. Anglo-French, old voyeur. From the Latin votum. A promise to God. Body bag day. Body bag. Hey, we got to vote for Trump or Biden. The lesser of two evils, lesser of two evils, lesser of two evils. So they're both evil. I don't trust them, but we got to vote for somebody. Our ancestors died for this. Your ancestors died to make a promise to a God. A solemn pledge. Dedication, that which is promised. A wish upon a star. Desire, longing. A what? Prayer. prayer,
I'll
solemn
put this in
prayer,
the chat.
a promise to your ancestors died to promise and pray to their God. Remember, you speak in English, you can't get out of this. You can't get out of this. You speaking the language is the sound, it's the vibration of your captivity. You want to break your captivity? You want to break your spell? You got to start making prayers and promises. Hawa spoke all these words saying, I am Hawa, your power who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not do any more solemn promises, worshiping any images. Thou shalt not make unto thee a graven image.
That's the first commandment, right?
No more promises. No more promises to their power. No more vowing. No more voting. Because a vote is a vow. Allahu Akbar. Shabbat Shalom. Break the spell.
All right. So let's put that in here. Did y'all? I didn't know that until I saw that
Man.
video.
I didn't know it either.
That's some righteous information, man. I always.
My name is Jessie D'Attilio. I'm
Hold on,
the
y'all,
curator
sorry.
of Gray Art.
What were you saying, Cleveland?
I always tell
So
my
let me-
wife, to
Uh-huh.
like break it down child style for me. Like I'm not no word or no word, I always say break it down child style. Like this is child style. Like this
Yeah.
whole week been breaking it down, and some of the stuff sound like, man, this is like far fetched. But as I sleep and as I rest, like I can see it clear, bro. I can see it clear. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
But
man, it's
that's
like-
why it's so important for us to learn our language. Because like that brother said, English is full of that. English is full of it. Right. So we have to transition back to our own language and get out of this English language. Because even the days of the weeks are deities.
Yeah.
The months are deities. Right.
True,
So I mean, this is a very wicked language. If y'all research the English language, this is a very wicked language.
Yeah.
So
I think I heard Malcolm X say English is the language of liars.
yeah, that's true. It's a language of liar. It has one word can have 3-4 meanings.
Oh yeah.
You don't know what that person's talking about. And then they change from denotative to connotative meanings.
Yeah.
And then words have different meanings depending on what topic you're talking about. Like a word can have one meaning in law, have another meaning in common English, one meaning in business, another. So yeah, I mean, it's meant to confuse so that they can lie and manipulate. But that's why learning our own language is so important. Step one is being able to take our documents and put them back in our own language, right? So we can see what that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's step one,
Especially the contract.
Yeah, especially the contract. So that's what I'm doing. But we really need to go back to our language. So if anybody's listening, like and share this video, subscribe. If you like it and share it, that helps me get the work done because more people will get this information. So like and share and subscribe. John, do we have here? John is a senior man, so the Hebraic way is to show honor to our mothers and fathers. So John, do we have your permission to close this meeting out?
Yes, you do. You have my permission to close this meeting.
Okay, so thank you. Let me shut down the live on Facebook. I still ain't figured this out. So let me see if I can shut it down.